Food prices in Canada could rise by 4 to 6% next year, according to a new forecast from researchers at Dalhousie University, with meat products expected to be the main driver of higher grocery bills. Beef prices are projected to jump as much as 7%. The report warns that tighter beef supply could stretch into 2027, though Canada has already increased its import volumes in an effort to keep up with demand. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre spoke to reporters on the recent food price report.
Canadians deserve nutritious, delicious, affordable food on their plate. They should be able to have meat and potatoes on the dinner table every single night. But today, a report from Dalhousie University on the cost of food shows that Canadians will be forced to spend $17,800 on groceries this coming year. That's a 995% increase. Sorry, that's a 990. A new report from Dalhousie shows that Canadians will be forced to spend over $17,000 on groceries this year, up almost $1,000 year over year. It's the second biggest annual increase ever, and double what Canadians were forced to spend the year the Liberals took office. This is outrageous, and it's the direct result of Liberal taxes, Liberal industrial carbon tax on farm equipment, fertilizer and food processors, the new Liberal food packaging tax, which restricts plastic use, all drive up the cost of food. Mark Carney promised when he took office, the day he was sworn in, that he'd be judged by the cost of the grocery store. Well, the judgment is in. Canadians are being forced to spend twice as much on their annual grocery bills as they were when Liberals took office, a number that is increasing and accelerating under his watch. Enough is enough. Let's get rid of all the hidden Liberal taxes on groceries so that Canadians can afford food again. And it's possible. We know it's possible because when the Conservatives were last in office, you know what it cost for a weekly grocery bill? $140. So now it's double that. We can get those costs under control, get rid of the Liberal taxes so you can afford to eat the foods you want for the hard work that you've done.
We sat down with Dr. Sylvain Charlebois, director of the university's Agri-Food Analytics Lab and lead author of the report, to break down what is driving this overall jump.
Well, it depends of the category you look at. If you start with meat, and meat is really the one category that is attracting a lot of attention. It's really climate change is the clincher really, with beef in particular, and that's really having an impact on prices of chicken and pork as well. And so there's obviously climate change impacting beef prices. Feed costs have gone up. Herd sizes are very small. So there's no product. And so that demand is pivoting over to chicken and pork, pushing prices higher as well. So climate change, even though you may not think that that the weather is not going to impact certain verticals, well, indirectly, sometimes it does. And so that's a good example of that.
The report also mentions shrinking cattle herds and ranchers leaving the industry. Dr. Charlebois broke down what's behind this trend and how long this has been developing.
There's a couple of things there. The one, the average age of cattle ranchers is actually quite high, and so they were just waiting for an exit, and they're cashing out essentially. Prices are very good, and who can blame them? Because it's been very tough for them over the last 2 decades or so. Starting with mad cow 20 years ago, mad cow was a really bad episode, but the other issue is demand. You need a strong economy to support a robust beef demand, because it is a luxury product. You want consumers to feel confident as much as possible, and people aren't necessarily feeling confident on both sides of the border, actually, in Canada and in the United States. If you're scared of losing your job, you're gonna go for that canned tuna instead of that fillet that is seen as overpriced. So that's kind of why they're not producing more beef, because they're just staying on the sidelines because they're not sure exactly where the consumer is going to be at.
The report also notes that beef markets are becoming more sensitive to tariffs. So we discussed how international trade factors into Canadian grocery prices.
With tariffs, well, things have changed dramatically in the last few weeks. We have a North American regime, so both Ottawa and Washington now recognizing that that putting tariffs on food, any food really, is a bad idea. Margins are very small, and very quickly you can actually see a difference. And so Prime Minister Carney actually did eliminate all counter tariffs on September 1st. And President Trump actually did the same just a few weeks ago. So we're starting the new year geopolitically on a good note, I think. But at the same time, there's always that threat, right? In terms of tariffs. And of course, there's going to be CUSMA that is going to be reviewed in 2026. So who knows what's going to happen. But for the time being, I do think we're in a better place now than just 9 months ago.
Dr. Charlebois broke down what other categories Canadians should expect to see rising prices come the new year.
Well, in the number 2 spot, it's our groceries, actually the center of the store. There's lots of issues there. We actually believe that industrial restructuring is actually going to be a factor. So, in other words, lots of companies are restructuring. Kraft Heinz, Dr. Pepper, Keurig, Nestle. They're realizing that having 14 flavors for one salad dressing may not be cost efficient. So we are expecting many products to be discontinued. And so less competition, basically. And when there's less competition, prices tend to go up.